How you doing, and welcome to my channel. Now today I'm taking a look at the Hot Toys MMS 693 1989 Batman, aka Michael Keaton, the GOAT Batman if you ask me, the reissue or the 2.0, whatever you want to call it. But why am I staring at this? As we all know, certain people do aftermarket capes, and in particular Jaxon Xu has done an aftermarket cape for this guy. Now this is the Hot Toys cape that he has on him. Not the worst Hot Toys cape in the world, but not the best cape in the world. But the reason he's in front of me is because Jaxon Xu has... Actually, let me take this down. Jaxon Xu has sent me another Type E cape that I received yesterday for the same Batman. Obviously this is the one I received about 6 months ago, and this is the one I received yesterday. Now, a couple of comments on my previous video reviewing the Drape Cape from Jaxon Xu have said that they received the cape and it's different to mine. They're quite perplexed because it's different to the one that I showed in my video. So here we are. I have the old one that I got 6 months ago on the left and the newer one on the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the new one aside for the moment, and the difference being I may start with is, first of all, this little bit of elastic here tying it together that people have noticed straight away is not on the new one. As you can see there, the elastic is not on the new one. So that was an issue immediately with people, because it's not like the one that I showed in my original review, you know. And they're also saying that it's not the same size. They're claiming that it's possibly not the same size, possibly smaller. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to get all of this in frame, but if I can lay this out here and just get as much of it into frame as possible. Now this is the old one here, and you can see actually the ribs in it, or the pleats in it that run up it there, that have been actually, you know, pressed into it. Now there is a bit of bunching up here because of the elastic, so it will pull it all in a little bit more, so it should make that one smaller than the newer one, theoretically. So let me lay it out here, try and match it up. Now initially I am seeing there is definitely a shape difference. I'll try and get it as precise as possible. I won't get it spot on doing it the way I'm doing it. It is immediately kind of a different shape. It's not the same size. It's really not the same size. As you can see up here in the corner of the screen, there is a little bit of a difference in the size there. Let me pull this back just a little bit, see if I can get this into frame, or a bit more into frame. That's about as far as I can go, guys. But as you can see there, it is kind of cut a little bit differently, and it's a tiny bit shorter. Now if I was to pull the top ends closer to, you know, to match the original cape, that would make the newer one even shorter again. But you can see that patch there is matching. It's matching fine there. It comes up to here, starts to kind of move away, starts to drift away up at the next one, then the next one further, and so on and so forth until you get to the end. And I would roughly say that's, let me pull this down just a little bit. There we go. I would say about an inch, nearly an inch shorter than the older version, which translates to length as well. You know, it's not as long either. So it is smaller than the one he was issuing about 6 months ago, or the one he was shipping 6 months ago. So let's get the old one on him and see what it looks like on him. So here we have him with his Jaxon Xu cape that I purchased about 6 months ago, and you can see that, you know, it reaches the size of the bat emblem. Now I have put this on a bit crude, but it's more or less spot on. But you can see that it reaches the edges of the bat emblem, and the length of it, the edges of it, tips just touch the ground, and you can see the way it folds out, and the pleats are in it as well. How defined those pleats are, or creases, should I say, that are pressed into it. Are quite defined, and there are a couple of ways of posing it. I'm doing it a bit crude here. I think I have to do that from the back, but you get the idea. I'll actually turn them around and we'll have a look at the back, and you can see how it drapes at the back as well. And that extra little bit of material, that extra inch, does make it so it can be folded this way, or if I get this right, you can fold it back like that as well. So you can kind of fold it forwards or backwards to have a couple of different looks to it, so so there are different ways to drape this particular cape. So let's put the newer one on and just see if there is any actual significant differences to it. And here we go. Here we have the newer Type E Drape Cape, the more recent one from Jaxon Xu that I purchased, and my subscribers were right. The guys who pointed it out that it doesn't quite meet the sides of the emblem the same way as the previous version that Jaxon Xu was putting out there. There's a little less material in it, and it does show, and it's far more open at the front. I'm not sure which is more accurate, to be honest with you. I'd have to look back. But it is quite different, and you can see that the ribs in it, or the folds in it, are not as sharp. They're not as as defined, and there is a reason for that. And you can see the length of it doesn't quite reach. It just doesn't quite reach as low as the previous one. It doesn't seem quite as well draped, to be honest. It's definitely a tiny little bit higher off the ground. So yeah, there is a difference, a redesign, a different design in the cape, in the Type E Jaxon Xu cape, which I'm not entirely happy with, to be honest. I prefer the older one. Stay. I prefer the older one. I do really prefer. You can see even the way the ribs, just pointing at the ribs there. I'll actually do a side by side, guys. What I'll do is I'll do a split screen and do a side by side. And here we have them side by side, and you can tell the difference there, guys, straight away. I don't know about you, but I most definitely prefer the old style, the one on the left there. It covers the body more and just looks, to me anyway, from what I remember from the movie, looks way more accurate. Just turn it to the side there. I'm going to admit that the newer one kind of looks a little bit better in its drape there, the way it's sitting at the sides. I'll have to hand it to Jaxon Xu there from the side profile. It does look better. And then from the back there, and I do not like the way it is kind of triangling out at the ends. I don't think it drapes as naturally, the new style one, as the old one does. It just doesn't drape as naturally. I think that little bit of extra material makes all the difference in it. So there you have it, guys. There is the difference between the old Jaxon Xu Type E cape and the new one. So thanks for watching the video. Please hit that like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.